Watch the behind-the-scenes video for the screensaver shirts. Do the older staff sometimes find it hard to relate to the younger staff? What do you do to try to keep yourself up to date with the current meta? Meta is an interesting choice there.
Dude,
League player.
Elijah hasn't watched The Lord of the Rings.
I don't like learning things about that man.
He hasn't seen it. He knows a lot of iconic moments and stuff because of memes.
Meanwhile, my family's starting our marathon this weekend.
Yeah. So it's not just that there were different movies, because I think when we were kids, our parents definitely listened to different albums and they watched different movies, but they definitely listened to albums and they watched movies. With some of the younger people that are joining the company now, not all, but some of them, they literally don't watch movies, like a whole movie.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, dude, it's just...
I'm probably very disconnected.
It's just not their medium.
The youth, so...
It's not their medium. Yeah, Artie's in the chat right now. Yeah, it's a thing.
My only exposure to the youth, really, is when I go to the gym.
Sorry, you mean watch one thing for 2.5 hours?
Luke, that has been just a terrible experience every single time.
Yeah, yeah. It has. What was I going to say? Yeah, can't they just sit on their phone while they watch, though? Don't they like watching two things? I would think movies would almost be a good medium for them.
But then that's just one thing.
You sit on the couch on your
background
phone
noise
while watching the movie.
My doom scrolling.
No, because movies require a level of cognitive engagement.
I don't disagree. I disagree.
You disagree?
Yeah. As someone who grew up with their computer in the family room, who would leave one ear off so I could listen to the movie and watch sometimes during certain points and play games the other bit.
Okay. So I think there's a lot of movies that you could kind of enjoy like that. Like if you're watching Good Burger, sure, fine.
There's a lot of movies like that.
This is true.
Actually, if we look at recently released movies over the last, honestly, 6 years, that's the vast majority of them.
But we started this conversation with The Lord of the Rings.
The Lord of the Rings, you gotta dial in. You gotta focus up.
Now, what about reading the books?
But
we talk about them not watching movies.
Well, we'll get to that. But first, no, I would make the argument that if you want to have any flipping idea, which one of the hobbits is the one that's obsessed with food, and which one of them is the loyal one, and which one cries a lot, or whatever, you have to be somewhat paying attention because The Lord of the Rings has a lot of characters.
I will agree with Lord of the Rings, yeah. I would want someone to pay attention.
My firstborn didn't make it through the Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh! How old was he when you tried to do it?
About a year ago.
Oh.
With that said, I probably made a significant tactical error.
Did you overpromise?
I gave him the extended edition.
Oh.
They're worse movies. I'm sorry.
At least you have one less kid.
We will definitely be
to worry
watching
about
the extended edition.
And that's great, and that's fine, and I'm glad you love them, but they're pretty slow.
Yeah.
They're pretty slow. Yeah, Linus canceled. Oh, bloody hell. I knew it was going to happen.
It was prophesied.
The books thing, yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this.
I started with the books, just to flex.
So did I. I think we've talked about this on... The Hobbit is what got me into reading at all. I didn't like it very much, and then...
Hobbit's sick.
I started going with the Hobbit.
Get to Tom Bombadil.
I can't make it through Tom
best
Bombadil.
Character. Nobody makes it through Tom Bombadil.
There's people hitting Ivy League universities that have never read a book. I'm pretty sure
we've
we've talked about that on
WAN show.
That's wild to me. Yeah.
Yeah, the prof will give them their reading assignment for the first week or whatever.
What?
And they're like, what? Like the whole thing? Sorry, you mean
these days, honestly, I doubt they even say what. They just feed it into ChatGPT or whatever. Summarize this book for me, please. Thank you. I need talking points for an essay. Oh, good talking points. Please write that for me. Thank you.
I had to do Machiavelli. If you had never read a book before, imagine coming out of that and thinking that this was not a manual. Especially as a business major. Everybody was like, this guy's got some really good points. I'm going to do all of this. Yikes.
Okay. Machiavelli's in the new Civ game.
Keeping yourself up to date, honestly, a lot of the time is as simple as just talking to people who are younger than you. I am often surprised by how disconnected the other parents in my cohort are of the friends of my children. And I'm not calling out anybody specifically. I'm just saying that, like, you know, I'll be like, I set up Discord for my kids. Like, I set up accounts for them and I set them up with a server, and I kind of showed them, okay, here's how you do some basic moderation on your server and stuff like that. And then I'll talk to other parents, and their kids are on Discord. They literally don't even know what it is. Like, they're on Discord with my kid and the parents don't even know what it is. And I'm like, Discord isn't an algorithmic social media platform. We've discussed this before on WAN Show, and we kind of agreed that while it isn't algorithmic, so it doesn't have some of the same issues that something like Facebook or TikTok.
It's definitely still social media.
It's definitely still social media, and you've got like 9-year-olds on there. And, you know, you gotta be aware of what they're doing. You've got to understand these tools, and just being around younger people and knowing what they're using and what they're doing with it is extremely helpful. And that doesn't mean that I have to use all of it. Like, I have never installed Snapchat because I don't need a messaging platform that deletes my messages when I'm done. I don't send anybody dick pics, which is the only reason that I can think of.
Even if you did, there would be a better way to do it, because it doesn't really delete it and they can screenshot it.
Mail.
Yeah.
Mail.
Yeah.
Like post.
Yeah.
Do you think that happened? That probably happened.
Get out.
That probably did happen.
I mean,
In the ye olde day.
In the Polaroid days,
I'm sure somebody.
that probably happened.
I'm sure somebody has mailed a Polaroid of their wang.
And I bet you, despite it being like lower quality, they probably still didn't put much more work into it. It was probably still a like, plunk, and then just mail it off. I bet.
Meet on the AOL chat room and just fax them.
But yeah, and you know what? I think
love that.
Happened.
I think a big part of it too is that we cover tech for a living and that we game. Gaming has become so age agnostic, and we used to think of it as a really bad thing. You know, when you'd have like some kid on the voice chat that's annoying or whatever. Yeah. But now, I mean, I
don't care at all.
It can still be annoying, but it can also be a good thing because at least it means you're not disconnected.
Kid.
Well, yeah, and depends on the adult too.
Yeah.
Blake Maverick says Snapchat is good for video calling between Android and iPhone. There are so many solutions for that. You 1000% do not need Snapchat for that.
Yeah.
Skype.
Get out.
Hey, we're wearing the old shirts.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, they used to be, at that point, they were their own independent company.
Did someone say gaming? Yeah, but you don't count anymore.
Yeah, Elijah, you're not even young anymore.
You're like mini boomer now.
Mid to late 20s. Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah,
I thought it was like 30.
You don't fit that category anymore.